meaningful data like transaction amount, company details, entry date, trace number, and senders, receivers, all those information from that file. Okay, so as you know, like you already know the BAI file, how the structure works, and why automate, like our agenda is to like how automate like the process. Overview of the code logic in C sharp, pattern and data extraction using regex, like you have to understand the regex, like filtering out something, a pattern based data from that big file, then database integration and executive insights, like why this is important. So the key factor that we have to understand, it's not unstructured data. This is very well structured, defined by certain codes that we have to understand. So a BI file is a structured text file format used by banks. So if you look into the example, each line starts with a record code, meaning you have to understand like how to break your line by line data, and each line going to contain something about the details of that file. So if you look into the first two lines, this is 0102. One is going to give you the file header information. 02 is going to give you the account header information. As soon as you go to the different level, you will find more information. Like line number 16, you will get the transaction details, which we are going to work on, because our goal is to find like find transactional details only. Okay, then you can, like if you like you have other details like line number 80, the code 88 is going to be extended information. 49 is like if you have, you're sending 49, it means account details, and the 98 is going to group details, 99 is file details. So you will find this kind of information. So you have to understand like each line is going to have another set of information separated by comma, that you have to understand as well. Meaning like there is like when you look into the CSV file, the column and row is going to be have like properly, you can structure it using a column and row. But in the BAI it's not. Maybe the line one going to have like 5 to 8 comma separated information, and the line 3 going to have like 20 information. So you have to be and like when you're coding this in the C sharp or any language, you have to understand like how to read that file. So this is the sample BAI file. If you look into the first one, like 01 1 2 3 4, the my bank information, the bank details, the 02 has like USD, this account number, and then you will see the line number like 16 code is 195, and then you have like transaction of 100,000, transaction type payroll. Okay, and 88 has the IND name of John Doe, and what is the ID of 1 2 3 4 5. Maybe you're gonna get more information. So what we're gonna do in the C sharp, we're gonna do read all BAI files from a folder, parse and identify the records code, extract the structured data processing using regex, then you store those information in the SQL database, then rename all the processed file with archive, so stop the like further processing. So let's dive into the code. I already did something. I just wanted to go over this and you wanna understand this better. So as for my BI file, I created something that the information that I'm looking for. So I created a structure, like a structured class here, meaning like what type of information I'm going to store, like record type, the ID, the company code, description code, entry description, entry class, trace number, entry date, individual name, company data, amount, remark, original bank, the company name, original ID, file date, and file name. So we created our BAI transaction. The other class we did like a BAI file processing, that's going to hold all those methods related to how the process is going to happen. Okay, if I go back to the presentation, okay. So this is the structure. I try to like create something for more visualization. So we have two main class, BI transaction that I just went to the code. Then BAI file processing that's going to hold the read file from the directory, parse BAI file, process extended data, insert transactions. So how I code, my always a goal to create a skeleton of the whole process, then connect it. Meaning like suppose you are doing anything on the page load or page init. So first write down those high level methods that's going to be run step by step. So that's what I did. Read files from the directory. If I go back to the code and make it smaller, everything, let me do ammo. So in the main, first I'm going to do the read files from the directory. Definition. So if you do, I did like once the read file from the directory is done, then I'm going to call the insert transactions and rename file with the archive suffix. And one file I missed actually, parse BAI file. So the step one, step two, step three. And this one is the zero, means the main step, like where I'm reading the files and looping through. So if you go over the code, like what I'm doing, so read files from the directory. This is actually the console application, so you will not find any front end. It's just like a direct program and I'm running it from there. So when I call this in the main function, I created a BI transactions, meaning that for this, I created a list of this. And the next line I check like if a directory exists for securing like if anything like I'm not going to read an empty folder or that the folder doesn't exist. So this is I'm going to check all the files, anything. You see the asterisk means I'm reading anything from that folder. Created a list of those file names, means file entries. I created a string array. This denotes array. So I did like a string array here, and I copied everything in this array from the directory. Suppose I'm reading C for suppose any directory, like suppose I go to C. Suppose I did. So maybe I'm reading this. Okay. So this will going to hold every file names in this list. Then I'm looping through each file names. I'm checking if the file name doesn't contain archive in in its file name. So I will exclude that. I will continue to the next file. And whenever I found my first file without archive, it will start running the parse BAI file. Once the parsing is done, it will go to the insert transaction to the database, then it's going to rename that file again. So let's dive into the parse BI file. Okay. So like while I'm jumping to the parse BI, let me uh give you the logic like how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to create a switch case. I'm going to read file line by line, and I'm going to find my specific codes. Like I will start with the 16 where I will always start our new transaction. 88 will add more information, and 0102 I'm going to capture the date and file information. And regex going to separate our pair between 88. I will show you how. Okay, suppose regex pattern is going to be used is this kind of pattern where I'm going to identify anything that has comma because I had to combine something. I'm going to show you like suppose IND name John Doe, key IND name, comma, value John Doe. So this kind of information I have to identify and I have to like extract it from that information. So so because one of our line, let me go back to the code. So so how I'm doing this again, I created a list of the BI transaction. I created an object of BI transaction as a null. I created a string builder of extended data. When I say extended data, in line number, the code 88 has information with key value pair. When I say key value pair, I'm navigating to the server. So if you go to this file, suppose I'm going to take a random file. So if you see the information after the first 16, means I have to ignore everything between 0, 1 to 16. I ignored it. I took this two lines. Then I went to this 16. I find this information first. Then I'll go to this and you will see here this contains a key value pair, means every key has a value with equals to symbol and then a comma, right? And this will no and it's not straightforward. It's also breaking between the two lines as well. Like you see the entry class is breaking into two different lines. So what I have to do, I am going to take and create one single line first by removing the all those 88s. Meaning if I have to take this information straight, I will start with 88 and delete every 88 between this line. Otherwise, what's going to happen? I will not able to map all those key value pair because it's breaking between two lines, entry class. It should be entry class altogether. This number here, and I think this 33 is also breaking into that. It means this is 33, so this should be the part of this 733. Maybe there is a character limit which is crossing, that's why it's creating new line by default. You see here, it's can New York. This is fine, but this one is wrong, this one is wrong. So we have to create a single extended data information. So I'm again going back to the my code. So I created the extended data as a string builder. Now what I'm doing, I'm reading for my because I'm going to read one file at this time. So this one file, I'll read all the lines in the file. So I did lines from using file dot read all lines. There is a method using a file namespace. Okay. So this is what the next step. I will check if this line doesn't have empty or this is blank or null. So I skip that. Next, I will go to the uh, like you have to understand piece by piece everything. So I checked one more thing. If line dot is split with comma and this length is less than 3 means it doesn't have more information, something like created by mistake, like two lines. So I skip that. I skip two things. One is with null, and if it has less than uh 2 comma means the character is insufficient for the line processing, and I will give the like I will continue to the next line. So first I did like record type parts 0, meaning any lines of the parts you see. So line is splitted by comma means I'm going to take 0 part. 0 part is going to contains the codes. When I say codes, I'm going to talk about this 16, 18, 88. So if I go back to the structure, meaning I'm parsing this line, I'm going to get 0 is 0, 1 for the line 1. If it's at line 1, if it's line 2 it will give me 0, 2. If it's line 16 it will give me 16, where I'm running the our switch case. So this one here, you see the parse 0 trim. Okay, so I trimmed, I find out my record type, I'm running my switch case. If case 16, then I will do this. If 02, then I'll do this. If 01, I'll do this. So let's see what's happening. So let's start with the 0 1 because by default it's going to be on the 01. So I'm going to take the DT file date from this file. I take I took the file in parse 3 that I have to identify by seeing the file itself. But by default, this is the it's going to be fourth number of the comma separated part. If you look into 0 to 4, you will find your date over there, file date over there. And same thing with line 2, it has like fifth like if you look into divided by all those comma, you're gonna find an fifth position. So that's how I find my DTC description date and the file date. Okay. I'm next is our 16. I have to wait for 16 again. So when I find out 16, I will check current transaction. Why I'm doing that? Because every time I find my 16, I have to break the original loop, meaning if I create an object on every 16, then I have to break after next 16. So that's why I did that. This is like you created with null. You see, if it's not null, means if by default it's coming as a null. If I create a new, it will go to here and create a blank object. So I did a current transaction not equals to null. Then it will check the extended data, process the extended data, okay, and then add those information to transaction dot add current transaction. I will explain that in a while. So when suppose this is the first time, right, means transaction is null, so it will come here, it will create a current transaction equals to new BI transaction. It will try to fit all those information that we got, means from the line number 16 we got parse 2 which is going to contains our amount, because they are not using in the BAI file, you will not find a decimal place. So you always have to think like every amount going to divided by 100, because they reserve those two digits as a decimal. So you always divide those numbers by 100 to get the correct amount. In this line, I will find the file path, because I need file path while I'm saving like which file I processed. I need file date which I'm going to get from this 02 and 01. Okay, and then description date as well from here. So I created my object here. So suppose the first line it reads 01, 02, now it's went to the 16. Now it's turned to 88. It went to 88. I'm checking like current transaction not equals to null. Again, I'm checking like if our current transaction is not null, then only I go and check the extend data. So I took extend data dot append line dot substring. Substring means everything what it had. I selected and I put everything in the extended data build. Okay, so uh, suppose this means, let me go to that file again. Suppose you process this now, and you process all of them here. Now you're going back to the 16 again. You found the 16 again. So if you found the 16 again, what we have to do, now I'm coming to the how I'm going to process the extended data. So I'm going to pass the current transaction, and I will pass the all the extended data that I found during the earlier lines that we had 88, 88 multiple times. So I'm not processing until I found the break, means I found a new 16. So when I found a new 16, I bragged over there. I'm going back to the action data processing where you need regex and all those pattern to identify where the data is. So if you see, I did a pairs identification using this regex. Mean in the extended data, what I did, I use the regex. Let me explain one more thing I missed. I like if you do, what I'm doing is line dot substring 3. Okay. When you do substring 3, meaning what I'm doing, I'm I'm taking anything after 88 and comma. Let me go back to the file again. So if you see, substring 3 means like after this, after this, after this, after this, means when I do substring 3 means it's going to exclude 3 characters starting from the starting, and it will save everything after that. Okay, so that's what I'm doing here. Next, when I got like go back to the extended data, I'm here what I'm creating a pair using this regex. This regex is going to tell you what is happening if if the any character, a long character, has a comma, and each separation has a equals to, and it contains A to Z or any kind of like value, meaning I'm talking about the pattern that I started sharing. Means let me go back to the presentation. So I'm talking about this value. So this is IND name equals to John Doe, or origin ID equals to. So I'm checking pattern between pairs, means these suppose I collected 4 lines, 4 different information. I collected those information all together and now I'm doing creating a pair. Let's go back. So in each pair, what I did, I created a key value pair. It means like a blank key value pair. I'm going to the pairs one by one. You see, from this pair, regex extraction, I started doing this. Like index equals to pair dot index of equals to means I'm splitting now in each equals to symbol. I'm taking the 0 as a first key and the value as a second key. You see the index plus 1 and this is the index means if I have information like ind name equals to this. So I'm splitting on this. You see the index of this. I created an index means this is a 0 and this is a 1. Okay, so this is what is happening. So I created a key value and then I inserted the key to the value. This is what I'm doing. Okay. Now, because I know what I have to store and I have a data set already, I created a, like a transaction class. So I did a switch case again. In all the key value pair, I'm going to find which key I'm matching and where I have to store that information. Means company code. If it's company code, the key name is company code, then I'll take that key to the to that value. Same thing I did for record type, transaction date, entry description, entry class, trace number, entry date, all those information I pulled from that extended data information. So understanding the action data information is very important because you will understand how you can read more information other than amount value because you cannot find all those information in line number 16. You have to understand how the 88 being processed. So this is how I did. If I needed like to do the parse extract, I did parse extract. I did direct like say saving the value. You see if how I'm looping. So I created a key from the paid like this loop and I created the same as a pair dot value. This is being handled here. So this is will give me and this loop is going to be again and again it will go to the until the file ends and it will store everything under transactions and it will return the transactions to the next processing. So next processing is our insert transactions, which we are doing like using this complete method. I have first I delete things. If it's matching, then I insert everything using parameter. Okay, I inserted everything. Then I do the rename. Okay, so let's find the rename. Rename is happening here. So I check like original file name. I check if it's not archived, then I add archive to the each file. So it will avoid like future processing. And that's all. That's what we concluded. So let me go back to the presentation if I miss something. So this is regex. We understand that. So this is the complete end-to-end flow. Read PBAI file, parse lines, extract via regex, store in SQL, archive processed files. Okay. Next, how it's going to help reduces manual data handling, improves accuracy and audibility, enables better reporting and financial control, and forms foundation for automated cash reconciliation. So there is a conclusion. We have seen how is structured a technical banking file can be decoded into meaningful financial data. Understanding these patterns empowers decision makers to design better reporting, control data quality, and ensure compliances. And I hope I can cover more detailed of like visualization in next like explanation. And also like before I conclude this, I will show you how to create a fresh project. This was the code explanation. Let's go back to the suppose. This is a console, so it's going to be super easy for you. So what you have to do is like click add new project, click on the console. Console, you have make sure you are using C sharp console. Click on the next. Let's do test app. Okay, create. So as soon as you do that, it will give you the blank program.file. You see, program file, and you can start building from here. It's if you run this, it will give you like, let me make it this highlight test app, um, set as a start project. Okay, click on this. Okay, so this is hello world, nothing else. Okay, now you have to start thinking out loud what you have to do with the processing and start coding.